Abraham Lincoln said, "No one is poor." He said, "No one is poor who had a godly mother." He said, "I remember my mother's prayers for me, and they've followed me. They've clung to me all my life. All that I am and hope to be, I owe to my angel mother." I owe that. Even Abraham Lincoln said, "I owe who I am and who I'll be to my mother." Isn't that interesting? It wasn't just his father, but it was his mother just as well. It's interesting that even in prison, that during Mother's Day, they set out a stack of cards on the table. And when they would come back, every one of those cards was gone because they had written to their mothers or their grandmothers. But on Father's Day, there were so many cards that were left on the table because they weren't writing to their fathers, but they would write to their mothers. What was the origin of Mother's Day? In the United States, Mother's Day was first suggested in 1872 by Julia Ward Howe. And this was a lady who wrote the battle hymn, the words to the battle hymn of the Republic. Really, really an interesting and dedicated woman. She was very dedicated to peace. Now, Miss Howe, she would hold organized Mother's Day meetings in Boston every year. That's where it started. Now, President Theodore Roosevelt said this about Mother's Day. He said, "When all is said and done," this is interesting, "when all is said and done, it's the mother, and the mother only, who is a better citizen than the soldier who fights for his country. The successful mother, the mother who does part in rearing and training aright the boys and girls who are the men and the women of the next generation. They are the ones who train the next generation," said, "she is of greater use to the community and occupies, if she would only realize." Women, realize this. Just don't take advantage of it, but realize it. That if she would only realize it, she holds a more honorable as well as important position in the child's life than any man. She really does. She's more important by far, Theodore Roosevelt said. She's more important by far than any successful statesman or businessman, artist, or even a scientist. There's a few funny things that our moms actually taught us. It was interesting. You know, my mother taught me genetics. She said, "You're just like your father." She taught me about genetics. My mother taught me about receiving. That was interesting. She said, "You're going to get it when you get home." That was it, but that was so true. My mother taught me religion when I was not even a believer. She taught me religion. She said, "You better pray that we can fix what you just broke." That's a hilarious thing. My mother taught me about the circle of life. She said, "I brought you into this world." She said, "I can now I can take you out." But my favorite one of all is that my mother taught me justice. She said, "One day you're going to have kids." And she said, and I hope that those kids are just like you are, so you can realize what I've been going through all my life with you." My mother taught me about justice.